Here we go. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now, and we're live right here on Chat Sports on this Tuesday, August 13th of 2024. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate the Bird Gang for making today's show a part of your day. And the purpose of this live show, Philadelphia currently on the practice field in Foxborough in the shadows of Gillette Stadium, taking on the New England Patriots for a joint practice. So we're going to pass along some live practice updates, a lot of one-on-ones, 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s, and a lot of big takeaways from what the Eagles are doing. Their only joint practice in the lead-up to the 2024 season prior to taking on New England on Thursday for preseason game number 2. And speaking of that game, we'll be doing a watch party for it right here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. So looking ahead, we look forward to hanging out with all of you. And because it's Eagles Patriots, we throw it back to Super Bowl 52. What up, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady? The Birds able to be victorious that night in Minneapolis, Minnesota. A game that is going to go down as one of the best days and nights of my life. We were back and forth, back and forth. The emotions of that night, incredible. So I want everybody watching right now to type F New England in the chat. Get it going. Go Birds. EAGLES Eagles. And let's get the good vibes going here. I see Buco TV, Go Birds 21, Dennis Designs, King Javier, Shaq A, Alfredo, all typing F New England, currently rebranding FIFA Cup, Scott Bates, Tanner Plummer, Jackie Martin, all in the building right now. And as you venture in here, help us out, support the show, hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Myself and Chip got into work about an hour and a half ago. We have 4 segments coming your way. Nobody's doing what we're doing right here on YouTube on Eagles Now. And here is the rundown. We're going to pass along some joint practice updates all throughout the program. We have a new Cooper DeJean injury update. Former Eagle Haason Reddick demanding a trade, and Howie Roseman looks so good. A genius in making that move to send him to the New York Jets, and now is he even going to play for the New York Jets? We're going to go through 5 rookies who have been flashing during training camp and in the preseason, and we hope to do a mailbag, so get those questions in. Use the hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat. Just a couple of takeaways that we can pass along from this Eagles joint practice. It all got started in a pretty funny way as Nick Sirianni took the practice field. A lot of Patriots fans were screaming at him, taunting him, saying, Bill Belichick is going to take your job. So that really got things pretty intense right from the jump. Some injury news that we'll expand on coming up here just around the corner. Cooper DeJean is back off the non-football injury list. He is going to do some individual drills today. The good news is he had some pads on, so he is nearing a return. Jalen Reagor taking on his former team. He's wearing the number 83. Devontae Smith has been cooking during his one-on-one reps. There was one rep when he was matched up with Christian Gonzalez, a first-round pick from last year. Completely schooled him. This Eagles first-team offense has been humming today. Quinion Mitchell has had a lot of good coverage reps against the Patriots number 1s in one-on-one drills. A.J. Brown winning some of his reps. One of them went for a touchdown. Jalen Hurts to Johnny Wilson wasn't really clicking early during the one-on-ones, but John Ross is having a pretty good day against New England. So the speedster, who I thought was just okay in the preseason opener against Baltimore, having a good practice session. Hurts really just accurate, launching some deep balls. The precision has certainly been there, and it's really been that Kenny Pickett and John Ross connection with the Eagles' 2s that has been getting going. Of note, Nakobe Dean getting some first-team reps to start 11-on-11s as an off-ball linebacker for this Eagles defense. Brandon Graham had a sack. Jacoby Brissett, he's kind of been all over the place. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. continuing to make some plays. Jalen Hurts, a money throw to Saquon Barkley for a wheel route touchdown. Matthew Judon was the New England Patriot who is trailing in coverage. So a lot of takeaways there. Keely Ringo doing a good job, broke up a touchdown in the end zone. Nakobe Dean broke up a touchdown in the end zone. Isaiah Rodgers did have a fumble on a kick return rep. We had our first practice scuffle started on a drill while the Eagles were returning kicks against New England. Punch thrown before a massive grouping form with players trying to break it up. E.J. Jenkins, the tight end, was involved. John Ross balling out. Austin Hooper got his hands on a Jacoby Brissett pass along the left sideline, but safety James Bradbury there to push him out of bounds and jar the ball loose for an incompletion. Bryce Huff, Brandon Graham, a couple of sacks here so far today. So some good stuff for Philadelphia during the joint practice session against New England, and we'll continue to pass along updates on that front. If you do want to get on the show, let's hear from you. Mailbag segment number 4, if our system is working, use the hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat. That's the hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat. Tanner Plummer wants a real one. Real one, roll call. You got it there, Tanner. Everybody who's hanging out early with us on this Tuesday, August 13th, certainly a real one. And if you're ready to talk some Eagles here, I want everybody watching to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Let's talk some Eagles here. Some other news across the NFL. Vikings rookie first-round pick J.J. McCarthy expected to undergo knee surgery. That will determine how much time he will be sidelined. He complained about knee soreness over the weekend, underwent an MRI on Monday night. So that is some big news on the NFL front. We are going to begin segment number 1 with the latest Philadelphia Eagles injury news, and Cooper DeJean off the non-football injury list. We're going to talk in depth about him because this could be another big addition for this Philadelphia Eagles defense under defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. First, we have nearly 180 people watching live, only 40 likes. Where are you at? Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. The bosses are in my ear right now saying, I thought Eagles fans were passionate. I thought Eagles fans brought the heat. We got to shut them up. We got to prove them wrong. I need everybody right now to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Eagles now live for this joint practice session against the New England Patriots. So with that, we get the show officially underway, and let's talk some birds right now. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day. And on the docket, latest Philadelphia Eagles injury news and a big update pertaining to the Eagles' second-round pick in the 2024 NFL Draft in Cooper DeJean. This news just in this morning that DeJean has been activated off the non-football injury list, and he is nearing a return for Philadelphia. We talked about this on the show yesterday and in the days prior that he was starting to get closer to his return, doing some work on the side field, some conditioning stuff. Here's a photo of him in Foxborough as the Eagles were taking on the New England Patriots for a joint practice session in the lead up to preseason game number 2 on Thursday night. We will be doing a watch party for that game. I hope to see all of you there so that you can join us for the best place to experience game day outside of being at the actual game. And the situation here around Cooper DeJean, obviously of note and interesting for Philadelphia. They're already very deep in that secondary. Howie Roseman has remade that unit, and Cooper DeJean is yet another talented player who could be another addition towards this emerging Eagles secondary that features a lot of young and intriguing players. Nick Sirianni saying this morning that DeJean is going to do individual drills during the Eagles joint practice, so not quite ready for one-on-ones and 11-on-11s and 7-on-7s. On July 23rd, it was announced and reported, and we talked about this on the show, that DeJean was going to miss time due to a hamstring injury. The report at the time from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler is that DeJean hurt his hamstring as he was bent in the wrong direction while training in the lead up to training camp. And I had said at the time, it's going to be a little while before we see him because you simply cannot mess around with these soft tissue injuries. And DeJean was coming off a broken leg last year at Iowa, which brings me to this point. Are injuries a concern for the Eagles' second-round pick? He's a freak athlete. He can play multiple positions in that secondary. He can be very dynamic as a return man. A lot of us have seen the basketball highlights from when he was in high school, when he was climbing the ladder and throwing down some hammers. But from Hard Knocks during the offseason, which featured the NFC East rival New York Giants, their big board was leaked, and a couple of players were highlighted in red. A couple of Eagles, in fact. Dylan McMahon, Anaya Smith, and Cooper DeJean. So the Giants flagged DeJean for a bad medical. He broke his leg last year at Iowa. Is that the reason why? Or when they were putting him through his physical, did they find something else out? And are they concerned about his long-term viability as far as his injuries? Now, what can the Eagles expect and what can you expect from DeJean once he gets back on the field? And hopefully he's going to be able to stay healthy. He could play all across that secondary. Cornerback, slot nickel, hybrid linebacker, and safety. During the spring, during mandatory minicamp and OTAs and rookie minicamp, he was mostly playing in the slot. I think that's the best position for him because when he had to play on the outside, he struggled a little bit while at Iowa. And on the inside, I think that you can maximize his instincts. He played quarterback in high school, so he has this ability to really diagnose what the offense is doing, and he's credited that to playing quarterback at the high school level when he put up unbelievable numbers. And from the slot, you can kind of use him in that versatile fashion. What I'm excited about is that he's a very dynamic punt returner and kick returner. And with this new kickoff rule, you can put weapons back there, and I look at Cooper DeJean as a weapon. But because he's missed so much time, he's behind the 8 ball, and because the Eagles are so deep during that secondary competition, will this be a redshirt year for him? But it's going to be hard to keep him off the field because he has a propensity for making big plays. He had 7 interceptions while at Iowa. 3 of them came back for touchdowns, and oftentimes when he was back there for a punt return, he turned it into a splash play. As for that versatility, I mentioned that he played everywhere at Iowa. And I want to see Vic Fangio utilize him in a very similar fashion. Last year, while with the Hawkeyes, 28 snaps along the defensive line, 23 snaps in the slot. Outside corner was his primary position, 630 snaps there. He was in the box 23 snaps, and then he played deep safety once. So a lot of people tried to peg him as a safety. He barely did that at Iowa, which always has a very good defense under head coach Kirk Ferentz, but their offense is just dog shit. Cooper DeJean's strengths going into his first year in the NFL. What to keep in mind for his NFL career. A freak athlete who can be utilized in a variety of techniques. He anticipates well because he played quarterback in high school, as I noted. Those 3 interception returns for touchdowns. He's very versatile like Trent McDuffie of the Kansas City Chiefs. That's why I kind of like him in the inside at that slot nickel role, because then you can pop him out to hybrid linebacker, maybe outside from time to time, and then ease him in to that safety role. And then he has that special teams value as a returner. His weaknesses, and this is my scouting report for DeJean in the pre-draft process. We talked about him here on the show. Coming off a fractured fibula, sometimes he gives up initial separation. Again, why I think he might be better on the inside at the NFL level. Some questions as far as what his position is going to be at the NFL level, cornerback or safety, and sometimes he can get handsy in coverage. It's really going to be interesting to see what the Eagles' plans are for him this late in the game. I mean, we're going into preseason game number 2 on Thursday. He has yet to practice with the team. So that's why I posed the question earlier, is it going to be a redshirt year or is he going to be on the field for this Eagles team? With that, let me ask you this. Will Cooper DeJean have a role for Philadelphia as a rookie? Type P for play, R for redshirt. Let me know right now down in the comments section. We're going to hit other injuries on the Eagles injury report coming up here in just a moment. But speaking of Cooper DeJean, we put together these shirts during the second day of the NFL draft. The word John it's just perfect for Philadelphia. It's part of the fabric of this city. So Cooper DeJean, you get the deal. Get your shirts today. Chatsports.com/DeJean. We have sent these all across America and internationally. Available in Kelly Green as well as black. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and in the description of today's video. Eagles injury report outside of DeJean. Oren Burks did not practice against New England on this Tuesday. Knee injury. Grant Calcaterra, tight end 2, did not practice because of a shoulder ailment. CJ Gardner-Johnson continues to miss time, although when Kelee Ringo made a big play during the Tuesday practice and had a near interception, CJ Gardner-Johnson ran onto the field to celebrate with them. He continues to miss time due to a shoulder injury. An injury is a little bit of a concern for CJ Gardner-Johnson. Albert Okwuegbunam, an abdomen injury, didn't impress me at all in the Eagles preseason opener against Baltimore. He's certainly fighting for a roster spot. Caden Stearns, the acquisition for Philadelphia, who they signed on Sunday, former safety for the Denver Broncos, out because of a knee injury that he suffered a couple of plays into the Broncos season opener to start off the 2023 campaign. And then these players on the injury report, limited. Parris Campbell dealing with the groin injury. Cooper DeJean coming off that hamstring injury. Mekhi Garner, hamstring injury. And then Brandon Smith, he currently has a concussion. And speaking of the lone joint practice session of Eagles training camp here, a funny moment from the start of today's practice session. Patriots fans, once Nick Sirianni was starting to run onto the field, they were taunting Sirianni, yelling at Sirianni, saying, "Nick, Bill Belichick is going to replace you." I imagine that got Nick Sirianni fired up. We know that he can be an emotional guy, and as I'm recording this video, as we're live on Eagles Now, Philadelphia really dominating New England in this joint practice session. If you want to give me a follow on social media, in addition to long-form content right here on YouTube, I put out a lot of short-form content talking about the Eagles on Instagram and on X, at Chase_Senior on both platforms. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join us on Thursday night for our second watch party, and thanks so much for supporting the show. Kelly Knock, a $2 super chat. What's up, Kelly? Thank you for that. Our super chat's working. Right now they are. Super chats are working. All right, Kelly. Really appreciate that. Scott Bates also sent in a $2 super chat. If you want to support the show, we greatly appreciate that. Send in a super chat, and we'll have some fun here on the program. If anybody sends in a $50 super chat, I will take down a beer boot for a $50 super chat. If we get to 100 in total, I will do a shotgun, even though it's early on a Tuesday. You can't be scared out here. All right, let's move forward to segment number 2. Before we do that, some more joint practice updates here from Foxborough. Nolan Smith got to Drake May for a sack. He beat 6-year veteran Calvin Anderson at left tackle. So Nolan Smith had a sack in the third quarter against Baltimore in preseason game number 1. He continues to play pretty well. Eagles offense with 2 penalties on their most recent drive. Jalen Reagor had a good deep catch over Kelee Ringo. How about that? Bryce Huff with the sack of Jacoby Brissett. James Bradbury with the really nice pass breakup against the Patriots' first-team offense. It was going to be a catch, but then Bradbury knocked it away. So those are the most recent updates from this joint practice session between Philadelphia and New England. Segment number 4, we are going to do a mailbag, so use the hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat. That's hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat if you want to ask me a question, if you want to share a hot take, if you want to get on the show. And as I'm looking at the analytics here, we are 26 likes away from 100 likes. Please support the show for free. Hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Who? J.J. McCarthy tore his meniscus. That's what the injury is? Okay. So before we started the official show, we passed along the J.J. McCarthy injury news. We weren't sure at that moment what it was, but it's a torn meniscus for the first-round pick, national champion out of Michigan. Tough blow for him. I didn't think that he was going to start the season as the team's number 1 quarterback. I thought it was better for him to back up Sam Darnold because he's a little bit raw, and that's obviously now going to be the plan because of his injury. Oh! Dennis Designs, a $50 super chat. I want to make the office behind us just go crazy. So let's do it. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Dennis Designs with the 50. After our mailbag for segment number 4, I will do a beer boot for Dennis. If we get to 100 total, I will do a shotgun. All right, 100 total, I'll do a shotgun. We're $46 away from that number. Okay, cool. Can't say NFL. Okay, good reminder. That's weird. Always a way to beat the system, huh? That is wild. So 12 days of training camp practice, by the way, no interceptions for Jalen Hurts. That's pretty crazy. I mean, people want to tell me that training camp stats don't matter. I disagree. How are you going to tell me that training camp stats don't matter when position battles and roster spots are decided during training camp and in the preseason? And what did we see in the spring? Jalen Hurts was turning the football over. He was struggling in Kellen Moore's offense. He was throwing picks. So the fact that he's making really good decisions, a great sign for Philadelphia. 12 days in the training camp practice, 0 interceptions for Jalen Hurts. Very, very impressive. All right, segment number 2. We have a new Haason Reddick update that we want to get to, as yesterday sent a ripple effect across the entire city of New York. So let's do that right now as we move forward on today's Philadelphia Eagles Now Live. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. Chase Senior here with you on the rundown for today's show. We have a new Haason Reddick update as he continues to hold out of training camp with the New York Jets in search of a new deal. He has now requested a trade, and Howie Roseman has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever. We're going to talk about that here on today's show. But first, let's pop up today's poll question. I genuinely want to hear from you down in the comment section. Would you welcome Haason Reddick back on the Philadelphia Eagles? Type Y for yes or N for no. His 2 seasons with Philadelphia, very impressive. 16 sacks year 1, 11 sacks year 2. And then he was accused of kind of chasing sacks and playing outside of the scheme. He wanted a new deal. Eagles didn't want to pay him. That's why they traded him away. But do you have ill feelings toward Haason Reddick, or would you want him back on the Birds? Let me know right now. So Adam Schefter breaking the news on Monday. Edge rusher Haason Reddick now has officially requested a trade from the New York Jets. And of course, this is the most New York Jets thing ever because they acquire a player. Now they might have to deal him away. They don't want to negotiate with any player on a new contract extension unless that player is at training camp, and Haason Reddick refuses to report the training camp. So right now, a little bit of a standoff between New York, between Haason Reddick. They had huge hopes for Reddick. That's why they partially let Bryce Huff go to the Philadelphia Eagles, and they want Haason Reddick to be their starting edge rusher because over the last 5 years, he's been one of the best sack artists in the National Football League, and he would be joining an absolutely loaded defense for the Jets that I think is going to be one of the top units in the NFL, and they gave up a conditional 3rd-round pick, which can become a 2nd to the Eagles, and now he might not play for that organization. And I alluded to this just moments ago. Howie Roseman truly has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever. And while it's a hilarious thought to bring back Haason Reddick onto the Eagles after trading him away, I think there's close to a 0% chance that it actually happens for a couple of reasons, and let's run through those reasons right now. The most obvious reason, I think the Eagles' plans spoke loudly this offseason. They bulked up at the edge rusher spot. They took Bryce Huff away from the New York Jets coming off that 10-sack campaign. they restructured the contract of Josh Sweat. They played in the preseason opener against the Ravens, Nolan Smith, deep into the third quarter. They drafted Jalix Hunt very early as he was much higher on their draft board compared to other teams in the National Football League. They brought back Brandon Graham for a 15th and final season. And I think generally, this Eagles defensive line has a lot of promise. Jordan Davis has to take a leap, but the flashes have been there. Jalen Carter has all-pro potential. He just can't wear down toward the end of the year. Milton Williams is one of the better rotational defensive tackles in the game, and he said that Moro Ajomo, his backup, is due for a breakout campaign. So I think this Eagles defensive line is in a really good spot, which is why I don't think they'll have interest in reacquiring Haason Reddick, and plus, there would be egg on the face of the Jets if the Eagles did bring him back after trading him away to New York. But this Reddick timeline is wild, right? Eagles trade him away for a third-round pick, conditional third, it can become a second, and then Philadelphia signed Bryce Huff away from the Jets, who last year was arguably their best defensive end. So the Jets, in turn, lose their top edge to Philadelphia. Then they trade for Reddick with Philadelphia, and now they might lose Reddick as well. He has been a training camp holdout, refusing to report until he gets a new deal, and now he demands that trade. Now here's the latest on Reddick here and how Howie has kind of flexed his muscles. Eagles didn't want to pay him. That's why they traded him away. They did not give him a contract extension for a reason, partially because Reddick's asking price is way too high. And Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network reporting on Monday that no team except the New York Jets wanted the trade for him, which is why Howie waited so long to trade Reddick away. And right now, there's really no market for Reddick services. A lot of teams are content. They've invested a lot of money at the edge rusher spot, and Reddick right now is kind of overestimating his market. He's in the final year of a 3-year, $45 million contract. The issue with him is that this year is non-guaranteed. He has missed 21 days of training camp. That is $50,000 per day in fines. He was also hit with a game check for missing the preseason opener for New York. So he has totaled nearly $2 million in fines. And the Jets came out with the statement and they said, look, he can demand a trade all he wants. We are not going to trade him away, so the standoff continues. Here's that New York Jets statement. We have informed Haason that we will not trade him, that he is expected to be here with his teammates, and that he will continue to be fined per the CBA if he does not report. Since the trade discussions back in March, we have been clear, direct, and consistent with our position. Our focus will remain on the guys that we have here as we prepare for the regular season. And that statement coming from Joe Douglas, the current Jets general manager, who used to be the right-hand man to Howie Roseman after he came to Philadelphia after a few years in that Baltimore Ravens front office. And this, of course, obviously, a messy situation that has peaked Jets. They made the trade for Aaron Rodgers last year. He tore his Achilles a couple of plays into the season. It was a disastrous campaign for New York. That offense was a joke. And then they make the trade for Haason Reddick, and now he might not even play for that team. They lose an edge to Philadelphia. They trade for an edge with Philadelphia. They don't pay Haason Reddick, and now he demands a trade. Why not just pay up? You made the trade for Haason Reddick to begin with. You clearly wanted him on your team. Why not give him a contract extension? More on this coming up here just around the corner. But first, if you want daily Eagles coverage, make sure you hit that subscribe button. As you can see here with these figures to my right, we are closing in on 78,000 subscribers. This is the largest independently run Eagles channel right here on YouTube. And my goal, every time that I step in front of this camera and I put on this headset, hopping on the mic, is to give you informative, entertaining, insightful, thought-provoking Eagles coverage that involves you, the Bird Gang. Our sponsor for today's show is Prize Picks, by the way. Daily fantasy sports made easy. Pick 2 or more players, choose more or less on their projected stat lines, and you can win up to 25 times your money. Get a $100 deposit match at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the number. So all you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Our football selections here, Calvin Ridley, more than 899.5 receiving yards for Tennessee. I really like that number. It's definitely going to require Will Levis taking a leap, but they invested in Calvin Ridley, and he should be able to have more than 900 yards, and I like the player. T. Higgins, contract year, franchise tagged, more than 899.5 receiving yards as well. And then Cooper Kupp, more than 974.5 receiving yards. He should easily surpass that as long as he can stay healthy. So daily fantasy sports made easy. Pick 2 or more players. Choose more or less. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks for a deposit of up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. As for the Eagles cap situation, let's give you an update on that front. Philadelphia's sitting pretty right now because that's how Howie Roseman rolls. The Birds with $25.2 million in cap space right now. That is 11th in the NFL. As you look ahead, Philadelphia, $6.4 million in cap space in 2025. That is 23rd in the National Football League. The good news is salary cap will continue to increase. More cap space in turn, and cap space can be rolled over. Whatever the Eagles don't use this year, they can roll it over to next year, and as we've seen, Howie Roseman is very savvy with how he manipulates the cap, massages the cap, and exercises these salary cap gymnastics. The issue with Haason Reddick and reacquiring him is that he wants a new deal, though. And he could be asking for about $25 million per season per reports. You look at a player like Danielle Hunter, similar in age to Haason Reddick, similar production. In fact, they both have 27 sacks over the last 2 years. With the Houston Texans, he got a 2-year, $49 million contract. But I think Danielle Hunter is a better all-around player who's a little bit better against the run than Reddick, who's more of that pass rush specialist. Haason Reddick, too, wasn't in Philadelphia long, but he certainly made his mark with this team. And Reuben Frank earlier this offseason put together some thoughts on NBC Sports Philadelphia, looking at some Eagles who were with Philadelphia for a short stint, but made their impacts felt. He threw out a name like Terrell Owens, who wasn't in Philadelphia long enough, and a player like Haason Reddick. 16 sacks, 11 sacks. That production over 2 years was terrific for Reddick in Philadelphia. You look at the numbers over the last 2, those sack numbers, excellent. And over the last 4 or 5 years, Haason Reddick has been one of the best pass rushers in the National Football League. Part of the reason, though, that Philadelphia probably moved on, they saw the decrease in production from 2023 to 2022. Now, the pressure numbers very similar. In 2023, 67 pressures. In 2022, 68. Hurries and hits, 41 and 13 last year as compared to 40 and 10 2 years ago. But the sack numbers did go down by 5. He wasn't as highly graded by Pro Football Focus, 75.2 last year, 81.1 en route to the Super Bowl. Pass rush grade, 75.2 in 2023, 90 as he finished 4th in Defensive Player of the Year voting in 2022. So sometimes it's good as a business to get ahead of a player's decline. And I think the Eagles saw that maybe he's declining a little bit, getting a little bit older. And in turn, they got a little bit cheaper with Bryce Huff. So would you welcome Reddick back on the Eagles? Let's revisit that poll question here. Y for yes, N for no. As always, thanks for supporting the program, and go Birds. 2 segments down. We're going to keep it moving here on Eagles Now Live. Practice just wrapped up. Jalen Hurts was 24 of 28 against New England today. 1 touchdown, no picks, through 12 practices during Eagles training camp. Jalen Hurts has still not thrown an interception. Segment number 3, 5 rookies who have been showing out and balling out for Philadelphia throughout training camp and in the preseason. Stay tuned for that. Segment number 4 will be a mailbag. Use the hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat. Still have to do a beer boot for Dennis Designs. And if we get to $100 in total, I will shotgun. We're $46 away from that if you want to send in a super chat.
Keep getting those questions in, baby. So far we got Dennis into the super chat, of course. We'll answer that question, Dennis, about Avonte Maddox during the mailbag. Big Avonte Maddox hater, of course. We got Tanner, Plumber, we got Earth, Dennis with another question. So use that hashtag, baby. Get those questions in right now.
No doubt. Today, I'm looking at this tweet from EJ Smith, friend of the show, Temple alum. He said, today was really a big focus on the offense, which showed plenty of creativity with the variety of formations and motions, but still boiled down to a heavy reliance on A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Defense had a dominant day with multiple sacks and turnovers. The Eagles' defense up to this point hasn't been able to generate turnovers because Jalen Hurts, through 12 practices, hasn't thrown a pick. So today, a big day for the Eagles' defense against a lackluster Patriots team, but good to get the confidence going in generating some TOs. We surpassed 100 likes. We've been hovering around 300 people watching live. Really appreciate everybody for being here with us. Dennis Designs, a $20 super chat. Is Milton going to make the team? I am rooting for him. Are you talking Milton Williams? For sure, he's going to make this team. I think he's one of the top rotational defensive tackles in the NFL. I think he's due for a breakout year. If you're talking Joe Milton of the New England Patriots, I definitely think he's going to make the team. Some chatter that he has actually played better than Drake May throughout training camp. Unbelievable athlete who can uncork a football 80 to 90 yards. It's crazy. And when he's on, he's really good. When he's off, sometimes he's really bad. All right, coming up next, 5 rookies who have performed very well throughout training camp and in the preseason. Let's dive in. Coming up on today's Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I want to take a look at 5 Eagles rookies who have been showing out and performing very well during training camp and in the preseason. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, I appreciate you for making today's Philadelphia Eagles now a part of your day. So many talented content creators out there who cover the birds on YouTube. A lot of great personalities who also talk about this team on other publications. So anytime you decide to hang out here with us, we're very appreciative. You're all real ones. Rookie standout number 1 for me is a 22nd overall pick from the 2024 NFL Draft, Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. He has had a superb training camp, and in his preseason debut against the Baltimore Ravens, we saw why the Eagles took him in that first round. Throughout training camp and in the preseason, he has gotten first-team reps on the inside at slot nickel in some of those dime packages. He has also gotten some first-team reps on the outside. He started at outside corner in the preseason opener against Baltimore because Darius Slay, a veteran, was resting. And on a 3rd and long on the first Ravens drive, Quinyon Mitchell broke on the football, thrown by Josh Johnson, had a really good pass breakup. I like the technique. Some people tried to tell me that in a game situation in the regular season, he would have gotten whistled for a pass interference. It was good technique. He backpedaled nicely, broke on the football, kind of had his hands around the receiver, but officials will allow that contact to fly unless you're really prohibiting that wide receiver from making a play on the ball. And what Quinyon Mitchell did was he's right behind the receiver, and he's able to kind of navigate around him with the pass breakup. Should have been an interception. He admitted that, but he had 44 pass breakups the last 2 years at Toledo. His ball skills are unbelievable. I wanted to see how those ball skills would translate to the NFL level. They have in training camp against his own team. He performed well in the lone joint practice session against New England, and in game action, they were also shown off. And Vic Fangio saying, we might have to start Quinyon Mitchell at nickel corner, even though he didn't play that position at Toledo, just to put our best defensive personnel on the field in the secondary. Now, he said, in turn, that Quinyon Mitchell has to work on his communication a little bit, But because the Eagles are so deep at corner, Vic Fangio wants his best personnel on the field. And so far, it's been Isaiah Rodgers, Darius Slay on the outside, with Quinion Mitchell on the inside, who has really started to lengthen his lead over a player like Avonte Maddox for that slot role. And then the one-on-one reps, he's performed well against the likes of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, two of the top wide receivers in the game, and he was really good against New England in team drills and during one-on-ones. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., rookie standout number 2. He really flashed for me in that first preseason game, his professional debut against Baltimore as well, where he was able to notch 6 tackles, 4 of which were solo tackles. He had a sack of Josh Johnson and a quarterback hit. Good pursuit skills, good instincts, good play speed, very good patience. He also made a really good play on special teams. That might be his earliest route of receiving playing time this year for a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. Mostly during training camp, Axeman Jr. has been running with the twos as an off-ball linebacker. He has gotten occasional first-team reps. And I said this during our Eagles preseason Week 1 winners and losers segment, but to see a Trotter on the nameplate playing linebacker for the Eagles in 2024 is wild. I just love the way that he plays the game. I think he has a bright future, and it's nostalgic for a lot of people who are in my age bracket because we grew up watching this Eagles team with these dominant defenses in the early 2000s, led by defensive coordinator Jim Johnson and his father, Jeremiah Trotter Sr., who was a perennial All-Pro and multi-time Pro Bowler with the Eagles in the early 2000s. And speaking of Quinion Mitchell, if you want to get his rookie jersey because you think he's going to be a stud, or you're a diehard Eagles fan who loves getting Eagles jerseys, you can get your jerseys today. Chatsports.com/Quinion. He is rocking the number 30 as of right now. That's what the jersey will come in. I think it's pretty cool. Like, you look back at LaShawn McCoy, for instance. He wore 29 as a rookie, then made the switch to 25. When you see those 29 McCoy jerseys, you're like, you're a true Eagles fan. You could be a true Eagles fan getting that Quinion jersey, rocking the number 30, because he might try to switch that number at some point. Will Shipley, rookie standout number 3. And what's the consistent theme here with Mitchell, Trotter, Shipley? All of them, in their first professional games, fared very well. Now, it's not like the numbers for Shipley popped. It's not like he dominated, right? But he looked damn good. And he looked the part. A versatile running back who I think is going to be able to impact the game as a runner and as a pass catcher. He also held up as a pass blocker, which is always good. 7 carries, 23 yards, only 3.3 yards per carry, but he did have that receiving touchdown on that 7-yard touchdown from Kenny Pickett. Love the play design of that play as Kellen Moore put a lot of size on the right side of the line of scrimmage with C.J. Uzomah, Grant Calcaterra, Johnny Wilson, and then the Eagles want play action toward that side. For me, Shipley a winner because he looked so comfortable running the football, catching the football, but he ran with surprising physicality. Surprising power, and he has finesse to his game as well. Rookie standout number 4 is Jalix Hunt. This is an intriguing athlete at the edge rusher position. He started his college career as a safety playing in the Ivy League at Cornell, and then he goes to Houston Christian and becomes a pretty damn good edge rusher. Got in the game pretty early against Baltimore, had a near sack right around the goal line against the veteran and Josh Johnson. And what's funny about Jalix Hunt, he's wearing the number 58 as an edge rusher for the Eagles. Just like Jeremiah Trotter Jr., it's wild to see him in the 54. It's kind of nutty to see Jalix Hunt in the number 58. He reminded me a little bit of Trent Cole. Trent Cole, not a player who had the quick burst and athleticism of a Jalix Hunt, but they do have similar size. And then rookie standout number 5 is the 6th-round pick out of Florida State, Johnny Wilson. When he was at Florida State, suffered from some drops, sometimes played smaller than him being the tallest wide receiver in the NFL at 6'6". At times he would get sloppy with his route running against the Patriots during the joint practice on Tuesday, him and Jalen Hurts really couldn't find a connection during those one-on-ones, but the Eagles have clearly been very impressed with what he's been able to do as a rookie. The drops have continued. He didn't do a lot during that preseason game against Baltimore, but as a rookie to get first-team snaps as a wide receiver 3, to be that jump ball, climb the ladder, go up and get it type of target, he adds a very interesting dynamic to this Eagles team, and clearly he's been climbing up the depth chart since training camp got underway. So those are 5 rookies for me that have really popped and impressed me throughout training camp and preseason for Philadelphia. It's always a good sign to see these young players faring well, because you want to replenish the cupboard with your talent, and you want to hit on as many draft picks as possible, and so far so good for Howie Roseman in this front office. So which rookie has impressed you the most? As you venture down there to drop that name, be sure to hit that subscribe button right here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. It's one of my goals this year to get that silver plaque from YouTube, to get Eagles Now to 100,000 subscribers, so help us get there. Great audience here today. Continue to hit that thumbs up icon. Like the video. Hovering around 300 people watching live. We have one more segment to get to, but it's up to you if you want us to do that segment. Because you got to use the hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat to be a part of our mailbag. We're at $74 in super chats. I do have a beer boot coming up for you. $26 away from $100, and if we get there, I'm doing a shotgun.
If someone sends in another 50, Dennis sent one in earlier. Someone sends in another one. I'll do a little early afternoon beer bong here on a Tuesday. If we get one more 50. Looking at our questions right now. Let's see. Got a couple from Dennis. We got Andrew Nathan coming in with a good one. Couple on Haason Reddick. Couple from Earth. A couple from King Xavier, baby.
Oh, Nick Foles dropping some merch. He just tweeted out a photo of him wearing a Philly Dad hat. So it says Philly Dad, and then has a shirt that's very similar to this one. It says Philly Dad underneath it. I kind of like it. I kind of like it.
Dennis with another one.
Dennis Designs, our Super Chat MVP.
He's getting them questions in.
And getting those questions in. Good looks, Dennis. Giovanni with a good question here. Do I get a Saquon Barkley jersey or a CJ Gardner-Johnson jersey?
Ooh, I like Saquon.
I like Saquon as well. I think he's a really cool player. I think that his contract with the Eagles could end up being one where you look at his run with Philadelphia as a very dynamic run. It might be short, but I think that he can really be special if he can stay healthy. But CJ Gardner-Johnson's a dog, and he's kind of a classic Philadelphia Eagles type of player. So I don't think you can go wrong, but I go Saquon. But that number 8, CD Deuce, it's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. Angela G. Adam Mordecai, $5 super chat. Let's do this here.
Mordecai with a good question. Appreciate for the 5, and Chase will expand on this question here in the mailbag as well. Justin Simmons, is the dream dead?
Let's see here. Good question there.
So appreciate that again. We'll expand on that here in a second.
I want to do something here. Let's see.
Looking fly in the profile picture, too. Rocking the bow tie, the little pink bow tie. I like it.
Hold on.
Hold on.
I got something I'm trying to do here. All right, Angela G, I'm calling you right now.
Whoa.
I'm calling Angela G. She's on speaker. She better pick up.
Hello?
Angela G.
Oh my gosh!
It's Chase and Chip live on Eagles Now.
Chase and Chip in my classroom.
Let's go.
My teacher just walked in. These are two of my favorite guys that talk sports.
Hey, I saw your message the other day, and I wanted to give you a call during our live show. Happy belated birthday a couple days after, and thanks for supporting the show.
Thank you, guys. I love you. I feel like I know you guys. Yeah, I really feel like I know you guys. I actually got to talk to you. What a birthday gift.
There you go. Have a great day, all right?
I love you guys. God bless you.
All right, love you too. See ya.
Go Birds!
Go Birds!
Go Birds!
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! There we go.
That's awesome stuff.
Angela G, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Adam Mordecai, do you think we are no longer pursuing Justin Simmons? We're going to get to that during the mailbag. We are $21 away from $100 in Super Chats. Can we get to the century mark here on the show? Let's go. Nathan Peterman to the Raiders. All right, mailbag coming up. Get those questions in. Hashtag Eagles. Send in a super chat. Looking forward to chopping it up with all of you. And let's do it. Yo, what's good? Welcome into the show. This is Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Really appreciate all of you for taking the time out of your day to join us and watch the program. And coming up, it's all about you, the Eagles fan, all of our real ones, because we're talking Eagles training camp, we're talking Eagles preseason, position battles, and more with all of our loyal subscribers who got their questions in during our live show. And speaking of our subscribers, Cowboy fans told me that we can't do it. What am I talking about? Getting to 78,000 subscribers right here on Eagles Now. We are currently 120 people away from that number. So F Dallas, hit that subscribe button for daily shows on the Birds, and let's prove them all wrong. Let's begin with this $5 super chat coming in from Adam Mordecai. Do you think that we are no longer pursuing Justin Simmons? So a good question, and clearly we talked a lot about Justin Simmons here on this show, and clearly the Eagles feel very similarly about the safety position as I do. And I've talked about Justin Simmons a lot because he has scheme familiarity with Vic Fangio. He's still a free agent. He's a four-time All-Pro. He's still playing at a really high level. Since coming into the NFL, he leads the NFL in interceptions. What did the Eagles not do last year? Generate turnovers. They were minus 10 in the turnover differential. And Justin Simmons is a really good player who makes your defense better. And Philadelphia's a little bit light at that safety position. Now, last Sunday, Philadelphia signed his running mate, former Broncos safety Caden Stearns, who, when on the field, has been a very solid player in his NFL career, generating turnovers, pass breakups. But in each of the last 2 years, he's been injured. Knee injury in 2023, a couple of snaps into the season opener. Year before that, season-ending hip surgery. But because C.J. Gardner-Johnson has been hurt with the shoulder injury, Sidney Brown still on PUP, Philadelphia doesn't have a lot of depth at safety. So they brought in Stearns. Now, Josina Anderson last week said Philadelphia doesn't feel as though they have a need for Simmons right now, but that could change as you look into the future. So I wouldn't rule it out if at some point Justin Simmons signs with Philadelphia. Over the last 2 weeks, he has taken a visit with the New Orleans Saints. That was last week. This week with the Atlanta Falcons. I more so tend to side with him not signing with Philadelphia, but we're an injury away from maybe that happening. Dennis Designs, a $50 super chat. Do the beer boot. What string is Avonte Maddox on? And I hope it's not at safety. So Quinny Mitchell, right now, the rookie, 22nd pick out of Toledo, has the inside track at starting at slot nickel. And I don't think he's going to relinquish that role. I think week 1 against Green Bay, if Quinion Mitchell can stay healthy, he is going to start for this team. Vic Fangio even said we might have to start him on the inside to put our best players on the field in the secondary. And even though Mitchell did not play slot at Toledo, he's fared very well at that position, both in the preseason opener against Baltimore and throughout training camp. Communication is going to be the lone thing that he really has to work on there, because when you play slot, communication is paramount. It's different from being on an island on the outside. You have more of those responsibilities, but the fact that he's been able to master a new position, play well there, and impress a longtime defensive coordinator and great defensive mind in Vic Fangio is very impressive. So where does that leave Avonte Maddox? He's the second string slot corner, and he has been playing safety a little bit. And I think that leaves Tyler Hall on the outside looking in. I don't think he's going to make the team. So I think Avonte Maddox and Quinion Mitchell will be the top 2 slot nickel corners for Philadelphia on the opening 53-man roster. King Javier, always watching the show. Should the Eagles bring back Haason Reddick? So Haason Reddick this week on Monday requesting a trade to be sent away from the New York Jets. It's so fun to talk about in theory, but I don't think it's going to happen. And while Howie Roseman has the opportunity to do the funniest thing, I think Philadelphia's clearly moved on. They signed Bryce Huff away from the Jets. They restructured the contract of Josh Sweat. They're looking for a breakout year, and they want Nolan Smith to take that leap, and he's a cost-controlled asset who's under team control for the next few years. They drafted Jalix Hunt. They brought back Brandon Graham. So where would Haason Reddick fill in on this Eagles team? Plus, the reason they traded him away is because they don't want to pay him. The reason Haason Reddick requested a trade is because the Jets won't pay him. And I don't think Philadelphia wants to pay him. That's why they moved on. Andrew Nathan, what teams do you believe Howie Roseman was talking to about a potential wide receiver trade? And do you think this joint practice could convince Howie to talk to the Patriots about Matt Judon? So Eagles Patriots taken to the practice field on Tuesday for a joint practice. Matthew Judon wasn't really mentioned all that much outside of him getting beat on a wheel route by Saquon Barkley as Jalen Hurts was able to drop it into the bucket. Again, I think the Eagles want to see some growth from some of their young and existing players on this team. And if the Eagles make a move at edge rusher, I think it would more so be toward the NFL trade deadline, not right now. Same situation with Judon. He's unhappy with New England because they didn't give him a contract extension. I don't think Philadelphia is in a position to give Judon a contract extension. As for wide receivers who Howie could make a call for, Amari Cooper with the Browns, Adam Thielen with the Panthers, Noah Brown and John Mechie with the Houston Texans. There continues to be some rumblings that Howie is kind of scouring the market right now, looking for a wideout. Tell you what, John Mechie would be a great addition for this Eagles team. A young player, under team control, vertical, untapped potential, a lot of speed, good production at Alabama, overcame leukemia year 1 after getting drafted high by Houston. Him and Noah Brown on that Texans wide receiver depth chart, they're just kind of buried right now. Dennis Designs, buried. My Philadelphia accent came back. Is Milton Williams going to make the team? I am rooting for him. Definitely. Milton Williams, I think, is going to be one of the top rotational defensive tackles in the game. When I think about some of my Eagles breakout candidates, Milton Williams is one of them, just because we're not sure if Jordan Davis is a 3-down player, plus he's 6'6", 340. Naturally, he's going to wear down a little bit. Jalen Carter going into year 2, he's going to need a breather. The first backup, whose number you're going to call, it's Milton Williams. And I think that he's played really good football while with the Eagles in a limited sample size. And I think that in a contract year right now, this is the year that he takes that sizable leap. Earth, is Will Shipley a triple threat? What do you mean by triple threat? I think that he's a dual threat. I think that he can run successfully and catch the ball successfully. Are you talking triple threat as him being a slot receiver? I think that he can be utilized out of the slot from time to time. When the Eagles drafted him, I kind of likened him to a poor man's Christian McCaffrey. Like, he's not as fast or as physical as Christian McCaffrey. I don't think he has the Hall of Fame upside of Christian McCaffrey, but they're similar players in the way that they play and how they can impact the game and how they're well-rounded. And so far, so good for Shipley, who against the Ravens was very, very impressive and was so natural in catching that football from Kenny Pickett on that 7-yard touchdown. Philly Boy, $10 super chat. Should the Eagles bring back Zach Ertz if he is cut? So backup tight end is a little bit of an issue. Greg Calcaterra did not practice on Tuesday against the Patriots. He's dealing with an injury on top of that, and it's not thought to be severe. He did medically retire from football when he was in college due to concussion issues. He's an unproven backup tight end. He's had a really good training camp, but he's unproven. CJ Uzomah, been in the league for a long time. He's very well respected, but he's more of that blocking tight end. If Zach Ertz were to get cut, I think that he could be a solid pickup for Philadelphia on the cheap, and I'm always down for a reunion for a player who can still play. But I don't think that Zach Ertz is going to get cut by Washington. I think they value his veteran presence there. I think that he could have an offensive role, but if he were to get let go, yeah, that's something that I would explore. Carol Hosey, do you think Kendall Milton will make the team? So I know a lot of the chatter from that preseason opener against Baltimore was on running back Will Shipley. I thought running back Ty Davis-Price ran pretty well. I think the Eagles have been impressed by Lou Nichols. Kendall Milton looked awesome. And this is a player who runs with physicality, lowers his shoulder. He's a good short yardage back who can carry the pile, run through arm tackles and break tackles. If he doesn't make the 53, and I don't think he will, he's a good practice squad option for the Eagles. Dennis Designs. Johnny Wilson is the best for Jalen Hurts. I hope that he starts and he can work with Devontae Smith to get his catches better. Needs to work on his hands. Dropped a lot of footballs at Florida State. Has dropped some footballs so far in training camp. But my goodness, is 6'6", 230. An intriguing set of skills. And is he an intriguing athlete? For sure. And anytime that you have a player like that who you can draft in the 6th round, who you can try to develop, you take a chance on that player because of the upside that he has. And for Jalen Hurts, yeah, that type of target would be a good target for this Eagles offense. And he's gotten some first-team reps throughout training camp, which is impressive. If you want to join our mailbags in the future, be sure to hit that subscribe button right here on Philadelphia Eagles. Now, really appreciate all of you for tuning in. We just gave a call to Angela G to wish her a happy birthday. She sends in a $2 super chat. Love her Philly accent, by the way. I'm sure a lot of people heard that. I love you guys. Thank you. Go Birds. That was her sign off on the phone call. We're like, Angela, we'll talk to you later. She's like, yeah, go Birds. How awesome is that? All right. We are $10 away from $100 in super chats. I have a beer boot to do for Dennis Designs. If we get to 100, Chip's going to do some drinking. I'm going to force him to do that. So I'm going to get the beer boot ready. I'm going to get a happy dad for Chip. 10 bones away from 100. We'll do that. Chip's going to take you up till that moment, and then I'll be back here in just a little while. 4 segments in the can. You got to love it.
Beer bug coming, man, but we got to get there. 10 away. 10 away. Who's going to be joining us Thursday night? Eagles Patriots. Type me right now if you're going to be joining us for our live stream. Thursday night, the game is, let's see, Eagles Patriots. Always love playing the Patriots. A lot of good memories there. What's today? 13th? So 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll be live an hour before the game kicks off. So 6 p.m. Eastern is when we will be live. Supposedly a lot of Drake May coming up. So we're going to get a good look at that rookie quarterback. We're rocking in Studio H today, Javier. Dennis says, I got to work, but I'll check in. Hey, we appreciate that, man. Don't let it get in the way of your work. But we know you're a real one regardless. Go Birds spamming me. You know he's going to be there. Andrew Nathan's going to be there. F New England, baby. F the Patriots. And F Tom Brady. Legend Nick Foles owns that fraud. A lot of F Patriots. Who's going to get us over that 100, man? I want to do this beer bong. But we got to get that 10. Got to get that 10. Do you think there's a possible chance that Jeremiah Trotter may have a starting spot before the end of the year? This is coming in from Swaggy J. So look, Swaggy J, I was at Clemson. I went to Clemson while Jeremiah Trotter Jr. was there. And he didn't test well at the combine, and it's partly why he dropped so far in the draft. But just watching him play, he was always in the right spots. He honestly, I thought, always played faster than what he tested. I was surprised when he tested so poorly because I thought he put, better play and better playing speed on film. And he was always one of the better players for a Clemson defense that, even though, they were not quite the same level of team they had always been, that defense was always still really good. So do I think he can have a chance to start by the end of the year? I think Devin White's pretty much locked into a starting spot all season, but I think there's a chance that he can get out there on the field. Whether it's, running bigger defensive packages and he's in there as a third linebacker with Zach Bond, or if he just overtakes Zach Bond entirely. Remember, Zach Bond played a lot of edge and hybrid for the Saints. Hasn't really played off ball, so I would love to see him on the field, man.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Thanks, bro. You're a legend.
Angela's going to be there. Angela, we know you're going to be there. Dennis says he'll give a 5 if someone else gives another 5. That would get us there. That would get us there. Ooh, a little grape.
All right. Let's do this thing. Beer boot for Dennis.
Uh-oh.
Beer boot is going up on a Tuesday.
Here we go. Everyone, type chug. Let's go. Chug, 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 chug. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Go Birds. King Javier, Carol Hosey. Keep going. He's rounding the turn. The bubbles are gone. It's the home stretch. Woo!
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Woo-hoo-hoo! It's cold, huh?
Carol, go Birds, King Javier. Thanks for the motivation.
Go Birds. I'm underage. I can't join them.
Whew.
Stick with your water, Go Birds. Jay says you missed a super chat.
No.
I don't believe so.
I think we saw all of
Because
them.
we got to Philly Boys during the mailbag
Yeah.
about Zach Ertz.
Let's see. We got Philly Boy, Angela, Adam Mordecai, Dennis Designs twice, and Scott Bates. Those are all the super chats that we've gotten.
Yeah. Just went out of line. Yeah. We went, yeah. Yeah, because we went to Philly Boy and then Angela. You're good, Jay. Appreciate you keeping us in check, man.
All right,
Appreciate that.
home stretch.
Here we go, baby. This is it. Chug, 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 chug. Woo! Got him. The boot. Das Boot.
Das Boot.
Das Boot.
Das Boot. Oh, all right. We're about to sign off. Good stuff from everybody today. Successful live show. Oh! Dennis Designs. Dennis Designs. Dennis Designs. Dennis Designs. All right, I brought Chip a drink.
Let's do it. Let's see. Woo, it's cold. What do I drink this out of here? Do I just chug it?
Just chug it.
Just straight chug. Got a little.
Dennis Design said, make the other office go crazy. No one likes us. No one likes us. No one likes us. No one likes us. We don't care. We're from Philly, fucking Philly. No one likes us, we don't care. No one likes us, no one likes us, no one likes us, we don't care. We're the Eagles, the fucking Eagles. No one likes us, we don't care. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! There you go, Dennis. There you go,
sir.
Dennis. Oh, Dawkins Hero! We need a group chat where we call each other randomly to yell, "Go Birds!" $5 right there.
Could you imagine?
I guess we could do. What's the text service? GroupMe?
GroupMe's a thing. I used that in college back in the day. Are you thinking of like WhatsApp?
WhatsApp.
Yeah.
That's the one I was thinking of. Because I don't know if Chip and I want to just give out our numbers to the public.
A little sketchy.
Little GroupMe, Eagles now. I
That'd
know
be kind of electric.
Marshall and Knicks. I think they might have a text thread with some Knicks fans.
That'd be pretty fun.
$100 super chat. I'll give you my number.
All right, let me chug this happy dad
Maybe
here.
we'll do that during the watch party. $100 super chat. You enter our group text thread.
That
I
could be it.
kind of like it.
Let's hold on to that idea there, because that could be fun.
I kind of like it.
All right, grape happy dad. Woo!
Dennis Design said, "I love it. I love it." All right. Chip for Dennis.
Cheers. 12:30 on a Tuesday. Taking down the happy dad. Woo!
Chug.
Oh my God.
Chug. It's cold.
It is freezing.
Yeah.
Hold on. Woo! Oh, man, that'll wake you up. That is so cold. Oh. It's not done yet, Go Birds. It said like it was nothing. It's not done yet. Whew. All right, let me finish this off. Oh, that's cold. Oh, a little foam or backwash.
I was going to say, I'll finish the rest of it. But
Woo! No, hold
it
on.
looked like there was some backwash there. Dawkins here. I love the dogs.
Woo! It's so cold. All right, here we go.
Chug. Finish it off. Finish it off, baby. Let's go. Okay,
Woo!
so live Thursday, Eagles Patriots preseason. I'm thinking the starters play. We will be live 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, an hour before kickoff gets underway. And then during the game, live play-by-play, audience interaction, more super chat giveaways. We did 57,000 views for preseason game numero uno. And we're going to overtake that number here, preseason game dos. So we will see you live then. Thanks to everybody who tuned in here today. $106 in super chats. Dennis Designs, our super chat MVP. Some people saying Discord, Zoom, WhatsApp. We'll think about that. Carol Hosey said, great idea. Dennis Design said, I love it. We'll brainstorm. For Chip, I'm Chase. For the Bird Gang, go Birds! We'll see you Thursday.